What's going on, beautiful people? It's your boy Warren Watches Wrestling back at you with another video, and today we'll be reviewing night 2 of SummerSlam, the end of the SummerSlam weekend in Minnesota. What I thought was a absolutely tremendous weekend of wrestling. I think both nights were great. We're gonna break down what we like, what we didn't like, where we see storylines moving forward, what we see people doing after this show, and how we see things breaking down on Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown moving forward. Talk about the good, what we like, what we didn't like. Let me know your opinions down below. Without further ado, let's get right into it. We're going to start this the same way I started the review last night with the crowd. I thought the crowd was very much into the high highs felt very, very special in this night because they were very much into the moments. The lows and the down points of the match felt like the crowd did not actually care about it at all. Like I said, the Trick and Baron match was very much no one really cared about. Even the Danhausen match, the crowd was not that into it. The ladder match, at some points of it, other than if it was Chelsea, the crowd was not that into, but obviously Roman and Seth they were into. The first match we know with Gunther and Kevin Owens they're obviously into, and Gable being back in his hometown they're very much into. So I would still give the crowd a good overall score for this weekend. I think they were a good crowd to have, so I wouldn't be mad about another PLE being in Minnesota. Talking about the match times, once again a lot of quick matches. I don't think that means matches were bad. I just think some of them could have went a little bit longer. But for most part, I think the matches did just fine with the time that they had and what they had to work with. Like Roman and Seth going 34 minutes was perfectly fine. I don't think that match overstayed his welcome. Those two could fight forever. We'll break that down later. I absolutely love that match. Finn, Sami, I mean, also with Gunther and Kevin Owens, that was just a fast-paced opener. You know, when it was on ESPN, it was going to be a quick hitter match. They got all their spots, and I thought that was an absolutely terrific way to start the show off. Like I said, I'll talk about that. Love that match. 9 minutes, it could have went a little bit longer. Sure, I thought the ending was kind of just like, here's a stunner, pin kind of end, but, I thought they could have done a little bit more with it. But overall, I'm not going to be mad about the match time there. Trick and Corbin, shit, that match could have been 4 minutes. I'll talk about that later. Charlotte, Jade, and the ladder match with everyone else, 14 minutes. I thought was just enough time. I didn't think that match had to be no longer. The chemistry in that match was not exactly the greatest thing in the world. So I think 14 minutes was just long enough for them. Danhausen, Dom, that match could have never existed. I would have been perfectly okay with that not even being on the card, to be honest with you. I'll talk about that later. And Penta and Gable being 12 minutes. I thought that match would be one that was like in the 20-minute range, to be completely honest with you. That one only being 12 minutes surprised me. I thought they were going to have some crazy kickouts, some crazy chemistry. Still a good match. I'm not going to sit here and say, well, I did not enjoy the match. I did. But definitely could have seen that one being a little bit longer. But, just want to throw that out there in case people were like wondering how long each match was. I think the match time was kind of fine. Like I said, there's only one match I would want to be like really longer. But that's how I right into the actual review. And we start things off about as hot as you can possibly start things off. We started off with what was supposed to be number one contendership match between Sami Zayn and Finn Balor. They both made their entrances, and then we have Nick Aldis come out and say, he's been reinstated as the general manager, so his first duty, he's going to make things fair and make things right, pretty much for Gunther. And then he announced that he's adding another person to the match. Now, at first, I was thinking, oh my God, is this where we get Kevin Owens? Is this where we get Drew McIntyre? We're going to get a big return right here. And when he kind of announced it, Gunther was like, oh, okay, that was really disappointing to see. I mean, it makes sense, but like it was kind of like, yeah, we're announcing a surprise return. And it's Gunther. It's like, oh, all right, we just seen him last night. But not to be outdone, obviously the crowd was not happy about it. He says, but I'm also going to add one more person. And so you hear the crowd start to heat up, get into it. And none other than Kevin Owens' music hits, and we get the return of KO, which, man, is so glad to have him back. He got the ovation he very much deserved. He got a absolutely thunderous ovation when he came out, and it's just nice to have Kevin Owens back, man. It was a great surprise. Definitely was not expecting this in any way, shape, or form. So to get this, it definitely was out of left field, and it was a great, great surprise to have. I mean, once he was kind of announced, I'm like, there's no way Kevin Owens can lose this match, is there? So they go on. Obviously he goes to the ring. First person he runs into, they have the little battle. And of course, him and Sami Zayn are looking at each other eye to eye. If you don't recall, Kevin Owens' last match was that unsanctioned match he had with Sami Zayn. That's the last match he had before he went out with the neck surgery. So, I wasn't sure if they're going to have a photo, if they were going to show respect. Obviously, as it's well known on kayfabe, they are very, very good friends. They're like brothers, damn near. So they hug it out, and then they start battling. And this match was an absolute classic of a match. This was an absolutely fantastic opener. A lot of great spots, a lot of great moments. This is all off the top of the head. I have no notes. So I'm just going off of what I remember. I know this match was very, very fast paced, very quick, very much at 'em. And there's a couple spots we had where it's like Gunther had the choke, the sleeper hold on Sami Zayn. He had him down on the floor, and then we see Finn Balor climb up, and then we see Finn Balor hit the coup de grace. And I was like, "Ain't no way we're gonna give Finn Balor the win here." And then Kevin comes in, he hits Finn with a stunner, hits Gunther with a stunner. Sami hits him with a blue thunder bomb, kick out there, and it was just a very high paced match. Now this guy, he is crazy as all hell. We've seen him climb to the top rope and hit a swanton bomb to the outside. And then we also seen him climb up and hit a swanton to Sami, who got his knees up, and it low-key looked like he caught Kevin Owens on the neck. We also seen him on the top rope with Finn Balor hit the fisherman suplex off the top rope. I mean, he came in full force. You would never known that he was out as long as he was with a neck injury. This motherfucker does not care. Absolutely fantastic match from beginning to end. Very fast paced, a lot of close calls there. Great chemistry. All four of these guys are absolutely terrific workers, so I expect it to happen. But yeah, it was very nice to see this match. And Kevin Owens picks up the win on the same, and he pins Sami Zayn in the middle of the ring. So he actually pins Sami Zayn. So I guess that can set Sami off for justice for Sami. Obviously, we have Kevin Owens moving forward. He's going to be going after CM Punk, and that is a feud that I honestly cannot wait for. These two are going to absolutely try to demolish each other on the microphone. It's going to be some hard cut promos because if you know Kevin Owens, he does not hold back. And if they actually let CM Punk be CM Punk and not Corbin Punk, he's going to absolutely have fire as well going at each other. That's going to be a ton of fun moving forward. I kind of think Gunther and Sami might battle each other. I really don't see Gunther going back after Nick Aldis saying he screwed him by having Kevin Owens match because he wasn't supposed to be in the match. Hopefully we don't get Bitch Boy Gunther back. We actually get a dominant Gunther coming out of this. Sami, I see kind of going off the rails with this heel, justice for Sami, as it was supposed to be a one-on-one match and you added two people to the match, so he kind of got screwed over again. But I think the one no one's really talking about is what does Finn do moving forward here? Finn was in this match, and I actually predicted Finn to win because I was like, he's obviously on a win streak here. We're building up Finn Balor, and he could beat Sami, send Sami down that crazy path. But obviously, with the returns, I didn't think Finn was going to win. I wouldn't have been mad if he did win, but obviously, Kevin Owens was going to win this match, rightfully so. But Finn coming out of this, he might have the feud with Gunther because at least, you have the babyface, you have the heel. They could put on great matches for each other. Unless I can't see Finn losing his next feud because we are building him up. I don't know if we're going to try to build him up for a champion match or if we're going to build him up against Gunther. But if I had to make a prediction, I'm going to assume that he's going to feud with Gunther coming out of this because when he did hit that coup de grace and pin Sami Zayn, Gunther did break it up at like a 2.99 by smacking him in the back of the head. But we start the show off absolutely on fire with this first match and everything that happened within it. And then we had our next match, which was Trick Williams and Baron Corbin. I actually did predict this match to be on the ESPN side of things because I'm like, it's Trick Williams. ESPN, likes to have Trick Williams. He's a sports entertainer. So will probably be on ESPN. He was. Lil Yachty came out to Colton, Minnesota, introduced Trick Williams. And then we had Trick Williams taking on Baron Corbin, and which was a kind of dead match. This night was very up and down. This match was kind of like just an overall dead match. It wasn't really much to talk about in it. It was just kind of boring. Trick Williams got the absolute shit kicked out of him by Baron Corbin for most of the match. Like Baron Corbin dominated the majority of this match. There was a spot on the outside where Lil Yachty was going to hit him with the trick stick, I think is what they're calling it. He hit him in the back. Trick Williams hits like the trick kick, not the trick shot, but like the trick kick. And like obviously he kicks out. And then later on in the match, they did have a table set up that was there for a while. So you knew someone was going through it. And then Baron Corbin goes out, grabs the title to bring it in the ring. And Lil Yachty tries to stop him, pulls him up on the apron, and Trick accidentally hits Baron, who knocks Yachty off into the table, obviously taking Lil Yachty out of the match. That's a table bump that we were waiting for. And as the ref's kind of like checking on that, Baron Corbin grabs the title, smacks Trick over the face with the title, hits the end of days, and we have a new United States champion. Which, I mean, definitely caught me off guard. The crowd, obviously, as you see in the background here, everyone's booing. No one was exactly the biggest fan of this moment. I thought it was a really random decision. But we gave it to Baron Corbin, and he's your new champion moving forward. I mean, there was a couple times during the match they tried to start the "We Want Mellow" chant. I really think just cutting Melo out of this and putting Baron Corbin in took away from a lot of this match. It's like I was uninterested in it, even with Baron winning, which was surprising. It's kind of like, ugh, like why would we do that? This was like we started off so hot, and then we had this. I was like, what the fuck are we doing? So I'm like, hopefully the next match can make up for it. But this match overall, I'll give this match a thumbs down. I think this was a down point of the night. Like I said, we started off hot. We had this, which wasn't great, but Baron Corbin's the new champion now. Like I said, I think coming out of this, he might feud with Melo because then we have the babyface Melo, and then we can have Baron Corbin. I do think we're gonna push Trick, not right to the main event, but I do think he will be in that ladder match for the Money in the Bank, which does make sense. He did have a run in with CM Punk on SmackDown, so we could build something towards that. But yeah, surprising decision here. I can't say I was the biggest fan of this call. And then we had an interim women's championship match, and Chelsea Green got the win. I repeat, Chelsea Green is the women's world champion, or the women's WWE champion. It's absolutely absurd. I can't believe they actually pulled the trigger. I'm very, very glad they did. The match overall was, I thought, it was very just like 5, 6 out of 10 type of match. There wasn't really many cool spots for a ladder match. It was kind of slow. They weren't really hitting each other that hard with the ladders. Not that I want anyone get hurt, but it seemed like a lot of spots like, yeah, like here's the ladder. Like they weren't really hitting each other that hard. We made Lash look like a very strong, legitimate contender at the beginning of this match. She was, powerbomb Tiffany into the ladder, then she chokeslammed Chelsea into the ladder. And other than those two spots, we had Lash powerbomb again, Tiffany Stratton on a ladder that was kind of in between the second and third turnbuckle. Those were about the only spots that I think were like noteworthy. There wasn't really anything else until towards the end where we had Tiffany climbing, Chelsea pushed her off, and she hits the pretty moonsault from the ladder to the outside, which took everyone out. And this led to the false hope moment that I thought was it for us. It's once Chelsea gets in the ring and Tiffany's climbing, she knocks her over. Like I said, she does the moonsault to the outside to the three other opponents. So all 4 of them are down now, and Chelsea's the only one in the ring. And you're like, oh shit, is Chelsea actually about to win right now? Sets the ladder up. She climbs to the top of the ladder. And then here comes B-Fab and Meechin for interference. They pull her down. They start beating her up, and she's just hanging off the bottom of the ladder, down and out. From that point, you're like, okay, well, maybe we didn't pull the trigger on Chelsea. They pick up Jade, bring her in the ring. Charlotte stops that. So we have Charlotte and Jade on the one ladder. Then we have Tiffany and Lash on the other ladder. And then they're fighting. The ladder with Tiffany and Lash gets pushed over. And then Charlotte and Jade end up falling off their ladder too. And then you see the crowd start to react like, oh shit, we're here again. Are we going to do it now? Chelsea gets up, climbs to the top ladder, grabs the championship, pulls it down, and becomes your women's interim, which I really hate the fact that it has to be an interim WWE champion, not just the WWE champion, but she is your new WWE champion for the time being. For Chelsea, I hope they can book her like a real champion. I hope it's not that she just loses in 7 seconds next week on SmackDown against whoever she's going to verse. If they want to throw Jade out there, just have her hold this until Rhea comes back. Obviously, I don't see her beating Rhea when Rhea comes back, but just the fact that we have this moment, we pulled the trigger, the crowd absolutely went ape here and erupted as soon as she's grabbed the title and won the match. So I think that overall just makes this a thumbs up for me, just because she won and we pulled the trigger. We did the unthinkable. Shout out Michael Hayes. But yeah, we gave Chelsea the win here, and what was like I said, a very mediocre match, but the correct booking decision, in my opinion. So I really hope that they let her hold this for at least a little bit. Like I said, I don't see her beating Rhea, but she should hold it until Rhea comes back. Tiffany coming out of this, I mean, she could feud with Tiffany. Tiffany has the U.S. title. I hope they kind of keep that not tag team, but like coherence that they have going on right now. Tiffany's going to come out. I'm assuming she's going to feud with either Blake or JC Jane from this moment. Moving forward, that could be her feud. Jade and Charlotte already had their feud set up. I thought they should have had a match at SummerSlam, just them two. Lash Legend is the wild card. I'm not really sure where we place her. I don't think she's still going to be a tag partner with Nia Jax. So Lash, I will be waiting to see what they do with her. But I think everyone else has kind of a clear plan coming out of this. Then it was time for, once again, I think another low point of the show. No offense, but the Danhausen versus Dom Mysterio match. This match, I think the runtime was like 8 minutes or something like that. It was everything that you expected it to be. But I just thought it was missing something, like missing crazy spots or funny spots or anything like that. This was just an overall, I think, boring match. There was no crazy spots, as you can imagine. About 3 minutes in, we have JD McDonough come out, start taking out Danhausen. Then we have the mini Housens come out, and I think it's El Torino is the one on the far right there, the one with the luchador mask on. He just kind of dominated JD and Dom Mysterio. He was killing both of them. But JD starts taking out all of the mini Housens. Torino kind of takes out JD McDonough and he kind of takes out Dom. And then they make a comeback. JD takes out Danhausen again, takes out all the minis. And then Joe Hendry comes out with a guitar, smacks JD with it. And then we just have Dom and JD. And they race to the pole. And then we had the good old fashioned spot where Dom's about to grab it, and then we get the "you are cursed" spot, falls, and then Danhausen wins. I'm not going to harp on it too long. I just thought this match was very boring. I thought this was once again like this show was, as I've been saying. We had a good moment, then it was kind of, and we had another good moment, then it was kind of, so it was a roller coaster of events up to this point. But I thought this was once again another low point. Boring. The curse, I guess, lives on. He won the money. Just moving forward from this, I just want them to move on from this. I think as over as Danhausen is, I don't want to be like one of those marks or whatever it is that doesn't like fun wrestling, but it's just this isn't hitting the way I think it's supposed to. Like I said, the concert sucked. This match sucked. His match at Saturday Night Main Event was not that fun either. So I think we have to find something else to do. At least me personally, I haven't been enjoying this. I would give this a thumbs down. I thought this was arguably the worst match of all week. Just my personal opinion. Coming out of this match, I don't know what the plan is for Danhausen. Hopefully they can have him do something. I don't know where the Miz and Kit Wilson are. I thought they were supposed to be like a part of this somewhere, but they didn't even come out at all. So I don't know what the plan was. That hopefully that is his character moving forward with them, not in any of the title pictures. I really do think this sucks for Dom because Dom is still your AAA Mega Champion. He's going to have a big match. What's it, next month? Yeah, in only a month from now, he's going to have a match against El Grande Americano for the AAA Championship at their biggest show of the year. Clearly, he's not being booked like a champion at all. He's losing matches. And it is crazy to think about this time last year, who was Dom Mysterio facing at SummerSlam? AJ Styles. He was beating AJ Styles. And then this year, he's coming out and he's losing to Danhausen. I think the fall off is absolutely absurd. But I think we need to start treating him like the AAA champion that he is, at least for the next month, so we can have some hype going into that match against El Grande, because right now that match is completely missing and he needs to be built back up. Then we started to come back up with our next match being Chad Gable and Penta, and I think we all knew that this match was going to absolutely cook and be an absolute classic. You have Penta, you have Gable. It's in Gable's hometown. It came on as like the, I guess, the co-main event, the match before the main event, which I did like that decision to have this match come on before the main event because having Gable in his hometown work Penta to absolutely two of your best in the business right now in ring overall, I would say, because both their appearances are absolutely terrific. They're both absolutely fantastic in the ring, and they're both over with the crowd right now. So having Penta come out in the all black, I guess he tried to play like the heel in a sense, but he's just too cool. He's too over to be a heel. It's really just a babyface versus babyface type of match, but the crowd was behind Chad Gable, especially with it being in his hometown. Great back and forth match. There's a lot of good chemistry in this match. Penta was laying those kicks in. They were showing replays like Penta was catching him with these kicks straight on the face. And I was like, he is not laying back here. A couple massive kicks to his face. We see Chad Gable run through him, go up to the top rope, try to hit a backflip or moonsault. And Penta catches him with a kick to the face there as well. And then we seen Penta hit his Mexican Destroyer on the apron. He didn't catch all of it, which I wish they had a different angle because it would have looked better if it was from a different angle. From the angle that they shot it from, you could see that he didn't really land him on his head. Even the announcer said he didn't get all of that. That's why Chad Gable kicked out, which I thought that took away from that, climax a little bit, that 2 kick out there, because that was like the big moment of doubt where he might lose here. He just got hit with a Destroyer on the apron. I know it's nitpicking. It's not that crazy to not like that moment, but then after that we had later on in the match, Penta's lining up for another Destroyer, and Gable catches his foot, takes him down, has him in the ankle lock, And then once he grapevined it, you knew it was over. But it wasted no time. Once he grapevined it, took it to the floor, and had him in the ankle lock, Penta tapped immediately, which was kind of surprising. Like I said, I'm like, you never have your baby faces tap, especially a character like Penta, who's, you know, that type of character that just wouldn't tap out. And they actually had him tap out, which was, in my opinion, a nice surprise because I don't think that hurts Penta. I think that actually solidifies the ankle lock as a real submission maneuver, a real finisher. That's why it's so hard to get submission finishers over today because no one taps out to them. So it's really hard to do. But seeing that happen, I thought that was a right decision there after the match. I mean, you can't help but feel good for Gable. He was super emotional after the match. He was in the corner. You've seen the kind of the tears start to hit as soon as he won. You also see in the picture he's busted up on his face. He had some cuts and some blood going on because it was a hard hit match. But I think the match itself was absolutely terrific. The post match, you couldn't help but just smile and feel for Gable. He had his kids in the ring with him. His son was wearing the same outfit as him again, which is absolutely adorable. Brought his wife, his mom, his dad were all there. He brought them all in the ring. We did have that moment where Chad was in the corner. Penta comes over, picks him up, puts him in the ring, takes the title from him because he wanted to put the title on him. And he raised his hand, kind of embracing him as like, hey, you earned this moment, you deserve this moment. And he absolutely has earned this moment and all the cheers and everything that he has got. Like tonight, he deserved all of it. He worked his ass for it. He earned every last bit of this. I would say you deserve it, but I think it was overdue, quite frankly, for you. Like you should have had this a while ago. But absolutely special moment. And then he actually did get the microphone a little bit, kind of shouted out everyone for the journey, saying, my name is Chad Gable. I wrestled at the University of Minnesota, shouting out the hometown, getting the overtown pop going on, saying he's worked for this, he earned this moment. And, the whole crowd was going crazy for the whole entire thing. But yeah, absolutely great moment, absolutely great feel-good moment after the match was over. And all in all, I'll give this match a thumbs up 10 times out of 10. Absolutely great match as you could imagine that these two would put on. And then it was time for the main event. Seth Rollins taking on Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight Championship match, and what kind of has been labeled as like their last dance, their last go around with one another. It's what's been built up to be. So for starters, we had Seth Rollins come out to the Hounds of Justice, so he came out to the Shield's theme, trying to once again play head games with Roman Reigns. Wasn't actually Seth. That guy runs out. Seth's music hits. He comes out, and of course, one of his over-the-top outfits, and comes to the ring. He had on the white vest, which is his white Shield gear. Obviously, polar opposite of what the Shield always came out wearing in their black gear. So Seth gets to the ring, and then you see Roman make his entrance. His usual loud pop, OTC or farm him down to the ring. And the crowd in this match was absolutely split. I mean, the beginning of the match, these two were staring at each other. The crowd was just going crazy doing, Seth Rollins, oh, whoa, whoa, and then doing Roman Reigns' OTC chant. So they were very much kind of just enjoying the whole entire moment. I'm happy to sit here and tell everyone this match is one of the reasons why we love wrestling. This was an absolute classic, an absolute masterclass of wrestling. These two have been wrestling soulmates forever, and they just have such great chemistry. And you could tell this isn't their first go around. Their storytelling in the match, their back and forth, their counters off of each other, the dialogue in the match, the stealing moves from each other. It was an absolutely classic of a match. One of the best matches of the year, one of the best SummerSlam matches of all time. And it was just absolutely perfect way. If this is the last time that they had this go around, this was the absolute best way to end this feud between these two. But I'm going to try, like I said, I don't have notes. I'm going to try to break down some of the stuff that happened in this match. There was a lot that went on. So we're going to try to break through some of it right now. So obviously, like I said, the start of the match, they're having a little bit of a back and forth going on. And then we see Seth hit a couple dives. They tumble to the outside. He throws him over the apron, and then they start fighting through the whole entire arena, making the lap around. This is where we threw the windows out the rules out the window, I should say, where they're just fighting through the arena. We seen Seth pick up one of those like stanchion poles and really hit Roman with them. I'm like, pretty sure it's a DQ, but we'll let it rock. And now it's saying there's going to be a lot of leadway in this match because it is the main event. So I guess that was their explanation for it. And then we see them work their way around. Back to the other side, we see Roman setting up for a spear. He gets hit by Seth. Seth throws him over the apron. And then we see Seth on the outside setting up for his spear. He does the whole ooh, and is looking to put Roman Reigns through the stanchion. And as he runs out, he runs into a brick wall. Roman just catches him, puts him in a guillotine, has him in the guillotine, takes him over, lifts him up for a power bomb, puts him through the tables, which I call the shield power bomb spot. So he puts him through the one announce table. He picks up, goes to put him through the second announce table, and Seth reverses it, gets Roman up, power bombs Roman through the table. Had that moment right there. The ref comes back up, starts to count to 10. They both get in the ring exactly, at 10 seconds. Seth hits the pedigree, quick 2 count there. A lot of back and forth, a lot of chain wrestling with these two. As like I said, they have absolutely terrific chemistry. We see a moment where they start to, steal each other's finishers, right? We have Roman setting up for that, super spear spot, and I thought it was like, going to be one of those pedigree reversals. Nope, Seth Rollins hits a spear of his own, which caught me completely off guard because I was not expecting it. Relatively good looking spear, too. And, later in the match, we had Roman Reigns have Seth up, hits him with a buckle bomb, fouls it up. I was like, oh, is this it? Like, is he going to hit a spear? No, he fouls it up with a stomp. He stomps Rollins. So, why not steal each other's moves? So he stomps Rollins, and then he picks up a 2 count there. And then later in the match, we had them with a little bit of back and forth going on. And we had Seth go through the ropes and do one of those Dean Ambrose spots. I forget what it's called, like the wacky, whatever is what they said. He goes in between the ropes, comes out, and hits Roman with a clothesline. And then he sets him up for the Dirty Dean, I believe is what it's called. The Dirty Dean. So then they're like saying, and that's the third member of the Shield's move, kind of giving Dean Ambrose a little bit of a shout there. Roman reversed it, and then he does end up hitting Seth with the Dirty Dean, setting up that move. So it was absolutely terrific back and forth going on here. A lot of close calls, a lot of close moments, a lot of moves stolen from each other. The crowd was absolutely into it the whole entire way. So an absolutely terrific back and forth going on here. With these two, obviously there's going to be a lot of storytelling going on. And one of those big storytelling spots was, of course, the Shield chair spot that we love to keep coming back to. Point in the match where they were having the back and forth, Roman was in the corner setting up for a spear. He goes to hit the spear. Seth moves. He takes out the ref. I'm not going to lie. When this happened, I was like kind of moaning and groaning. I was like, oh, God, now here we go. We do not need interference. We don't need any cheat. We just need mano a mano to see who's a better man in this match. And once the ref came down and got hit by the spear, you're kind of thinking, even Seth was saying it to Roman, and they had the mics in the ring that you could pick up to see what they're saying. He goes, oh, is this where the bloodline comes out? Is this where you need the bloodline to come out to beat me because you can't beat me on your own? And, Roman said, I don't need the bloodline. I need to beat you by myself. Kind of saying like he wants to beat him. He doesn't want the bloodline to come out. But like, everyone's thinking, who's going to come interfere here now? Because it's just a moment with the ref down and you two staring at each other. What's about to happen? They have a little bit of chain wrestling once again. Seth ends up hitting, I want to say he had a stomp here. And then he goes out to get the chair. So he gets the chair, comes back in. Roman's in that same spot as usual, climbing up on the far side rope. And Seth lines him up, goes for the shot. Roman comes around, hits him with the uppercut. And then he picks up the chair and he's lining up Seth. And as he's lining up Seth, you see him kind of looking at the chair, looking at Seth, giving it a thought, like, do I have to do this? And then eventually he just throws the chair to the side, looks at Seth like, no, let's do this man to man. It's always been, is one thing he was saying in the match is, it's always been you and me. It's always been you and me. We don't need nothing else. It's just us. Like, I'm going to beat you one-on-one in this ring. I don't need a cheat to beat you, which I thought was a nice touch on the match. Like, we're moving on from this. I'm leaving this in my past. No more of these, chair shots, shield shots. We're leaving all this in the past. This is me versus you to see who the better man is, which I thought was kind of a nice touch on the match. So they kind of continue to go back and forth a little bit. Had a couple close calls here and there. We did have the spear into the pedigree, into a stomp that was kicked out of. We had a couple spears from Seth that he kicked out of. And then the ending, we had them kind of going back and forth again, saying, it's always been us. Like, I need to beat you. And then Roman hits 3 spears in a row, with the last one being a super spear. 1, 2, 3. And what was an absolute classic. Classic. I know we say it a lot, but this was an absolute fantastic match to end SummerSlam. And once the match was over, I was like, are we going to get anything else here? Are we going to get The Rock? Are we going to get anything crazy to absolutely send us home, like, surprise to end SummerSlam, even though we already have KO? So, I mean, it's already big enough surprises. But after the match, they're kind of, both in the corners facing one another. And I was like, are they going to show the sign of respect? Or, like, are these two going to keep this forever feud going on kayfabe-wise? Because, real life, they are good friends. But kayfabe-wise, they have a feud for, like, 10, 11 years? I was like, what kind of be somewhat nice to have two people that hate each other and will never show each other respect until, like, they're done wrestling. But we do get them staring at each other. We do get Roman kind of stands up, walks over in the middle of the ring. He puts his fist out, kind of setting up for like that Shield, like, fist bump that they used to always do. I was like, oh man, are they actually going to, like, do this moment right now? And Seth comes to the middle ring with the Shield mask, lays it down. They come together with the fist bump, kind of, keeping them both babyface. And pretty much I think this was their way of ending this chapter. Like they've been telling this story for as long as they have, like 10 years or however long it might have been. They've been telling this story, and this was their final chapter here. So I thought this moment was absolutely fantastic. And I think it was just very fitting to see this is how we're going to end SummerSlam. We're going to move on from this. If this is their last go around, I think it was an absolutely fantastic way to end it. And to end this match at a big show. I know people were saying they won at WrestleMania, but SummerSlam's your second biggest show of the year. It was the right timing for it. So to have it right now, I think this was a great, terrific way to end night 2 of SummerSlam. So all in all, that was SummerSlam night 2 review. I think SummerSlam itself was a great weekend of wrestling. I would probably say night 1 was consistently better. It was just better straight through. Night 2 had better highs, but lower lows. Like obviously Kevin Owens coming back, winning that match was a great high. The Roman Seth match was a great high. Chad and Penta was a good moment. Chelsea winning the title was a fantastic moment and what was an okay match. But the Trick match really was kind of a downer. What was the other match? I'm already forgetting what the other match was. Oh yeah, Danhausen and Dom. Yes, I remember. Was to me, I just watched the show. That match was definitely a downer. I think that just was a complete mess. But I think the highs were better in night 2 and the lows were worse in night 2. But night 1, I think, was a great show. So I'd say I'll give night 2 about a 7.5. I think after more thought, I'd probably give night 1. Actually, I mean, I'll probably give it 8.5. I think overall it was still a good, fun show. The highs were just so high that it does make up for the low points of the show. Honestly, I might give it like a 9, but I think night 1 was a great show as well. I'd probably give night 1 like a 9.5. So all in all, SummerSlam itself, I think, was a complete, absolute hit this year. I'm glad to say that, this being the first PLE that I'm covering as a content creator. Now I can call myself that, I guess, if you want to. But this being the first PLE I'm covering, it's great. This is why I wanted to do this. This is why I wanted to talk about wrestling, because this is one of those, PLEs that I think was an absolute smash hit. I think this was a fun weekend of wrestling all in all together. And I'll give the show overall a thumbs up. So let me know what you agree with. Let me know what you disagree with. Follow me on Instagram or TikTok. Post my reactions there at Warren Watches Wrestling. I'm still at 3 subscribers now. So, we didn't get to the 5 by the end of the weekend. That's perfectly okay. We'll get there in the time being. But, leave a like, subscribe. Let me know what your opinions are. Y'all stay beautiful, world.